the FNL Network talk show.
Hey guys, I'm Kay Montgomery. Welcome to the FNL Network talk show. We have a great show for you guys today with an amazing panel of hosts, some of my favorite ones here today. Marianne Estridge is here. Hey girl, hey.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. David Stowe is our male representative. He's our own Ken on the show today.
Hey guys.
And then Bettina Skye, all the way from the East Coast, representing with us today.
Hey.
So I'm so excited to see all you guys. I don't think we've had this particular mix of hosts before, so I'm excited to get into it and hear all you guys' opinions. So the Super Bowl is happening on Sunday. I can't tell you who's playing, but I do know Usher's going to have a concert there. That's the important part for me. And at that concert, who knows what's going to happen. I went to Usher's Vegas, his residency in Vegas, and that was awesome. And so I'm just wondering what you guys think will happen. Usually for the Super Bowl, the past few times, a guest will come, a performer will come, and then they'll have special guests, people come out and surprise us. I think particularly Bruno Mars had Coldplay come out, and then he had Beyonce come out too. And there's just always, you're kind of on the edge of your seat, don't know who's going to come out. So I was wondering if you guys had any ideas of who he would bring out as a guest. And also if you have any requests, if Usher's watching, you have any ideas or requests, who you would like for him to bring on. And then also, if you want to tell us who exactly will be playing whatever sports ball game is going to be happening. I'm understanding there's some kind of sports ball game also happening at the Usher concert. If you could tell me, I don't know, who's playing, that might be helpful to me. Let's start with Marianne.
Well, I can't tell you who's playing either.
It's the 49ers and the Chiefs, just so you guys know.
My
49ers and Chiefs.
My idea of a Super Bowl is a giant bowl of popcorn or chocolate or cookies. That's my idea of a Super Bowl. But as far as a musical talent, I really like Lainey Wilson. I think she's just adorable. And I know she and Usher have two totally different genres, but I really like her. I think it'd be cool to see her. So that would be my pick if I had to choose. But as far as the sport, I have not watched a Super Bowl probably since high school. And that was more like my brother and my parents watching. And I'm almost 38 years old. So
wow.
If that tells you anything, I mean, I can take really good naps during that time.
That's okay. Wait, now tell me, because I did watch the Grammys last night. So Lainey Wilson won last night for Bell Bottom Country. Is that what it is? That Lainey Wilson?
I did not watch the Grammys, so I'm not sure.
All right.
Yeah, I haven't watched, but she wears the bell bottoms. She's got, the long blonde streaked hair. She's really seems very approachable and really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I just really like her.
That was her. That's your girl. She won last night. I mean, there's a million categories, but I remember because I was like, Bell Bottom Country, that's an interesting name for something. And she got up and she had on bell bottoms. And then to open the show, actually, I don't, is his name Luke Wilson? I think it's Luke Wilson. Him and Tracy Chapman sung a duet together, A Fast Car, because he did a cover of that song. So I feel like R&B and country are mashing up to have a moment. So I don't think you're not so crazy now about Lainey. She might have a shot with Usher. I like this, Marianne. I like the prediction. Yeah. What do you say, David?
Well, the fact that it's the Chiefs and the 49ers, something's telling me there's a possibility after Taylor Swift gets back from Japan, they're going to try to pump her up there because, it's a moneymaker, I guess. I mean, that's what I'm assuming. If you want to know who I wish could be, and I've been waiting for years, and I'm probably the sole person here to say that, would be, I've always wanted AC/DC out there. I've loved AC/DC. It rocks. It gets people pumped. You go to football stadiums, they blast AC/DC. Everybody knows it, whether you like rock or not. I mean, I'm a big country fan. I love country music too. So country rock, anything like that. Luke Bryan would be fun. Jason Aldean, any of them. That's just me. I like all music, to be honest with you. I listen to everything. In fact, I piss a lot of people off because I'm all over the place. One side I got Elvis, and then you got old school rap, and then you got my country. Even though everybody will tell you that all I listen to is country, but that's not true. So I would like to see AC/DC,
wait.
but
Tell me I now I really want to know if I know an AC/DC song is because you said they play it at games.
Thunderstruck, Back
Is
in
Welcome
Black.
to the Jungle a AC/DC song?
That's Guns N' Roses. They play them too. That'd be a fun one to have out there too. Actually, the lead singer for Axl Rose, who was the lead singer for Guns N' Roses, was on tour with AC/DC during the time that Brian Johnson was out with his throat soreness. So he sang all the AC/DC songs with us. So it was a lot of fun. It wasn't AC/DC with Brian Johnson, but for the most part. But yeah, that's Guns N' Roses, but they do Back in Black. I know you've heard it before, Thunderstruck, there's a lot of songs that are out there that they sing. So,
okay. I'm going to have to research. I wonder if I do know. I'm like, it might be one of those things where I would recognize it. And then, you know what I mean? But I don't know the name.
Exactly.
I think it's weird that a lot of songs that were like old school songs when I was a kid got turned into commercials.
Oh, yeah.
So as an adult, I would be like, "That's a song? I thought that was a commercial for toilet paper." You know what I mean? But I see
they sold out. They sold out.
There's a Notorious B.I.G. commercial that's now a song that's now a Burger King commercial. When I saw that, I just felt so old. I was like, "Bro, are you serious? Like, it's Biggie, but it's for a hamburger." I was just like, "Oh my gosh!"
Exactly.
Bettina, what about you?
Well, I really love Usher. Specifically love his dancing. I mean, he's like so awesome. I could watch him forever dance. So I'd love to see him with another great dancer, a personal favorite, Shakira. I think that would be so interesting to watch. They're very different types of dancers, and how fascinating would that be? And different music too. I just think that would be a great combination.
Or Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
I love Bruno Mars. I have to admit that. And that kid can dance.
Oh yeah. I just love watching that type of dancing. Anything really like exceptional movement. I just love that,
You know what? That's a good one, Bettina, because
thank you.
Usher
I thought of it.
Song called Bad Girl, and he usually brings a girl out. And Beyonce has danced at an award show before with him singing that. But I wonder, Shakira, her and J-Lo did that halftime show a couple years ago.
Oh wow.
She'd be a great one to bring out. Yeah. Guys, I feel like
I like me some Shakira.
Oh, I love her. Yeah, she's awesome.
Her hips do not lie.
We should get work, you guys. We should be on the committee. I feel like we're coming up with some solid suggestions. So we're halfway, part way through February. It feels like to me, February the 28th. Research has shown is the day that most people abandon their New Year's resolutions. I thought it would at least be sometime in March, but it's so that just made me think about you guys individually. Do you do the whole New Year's resolution thing? Do you feel like it's an arbitrary deal, or does it help to motivate you? And if so, have you what are some of your resolutions that you've done this year or in years past that you felt like have been particularly helpful? What's your take on it, David?
Well, I don't normally do New Year's resolutions. I mean, other than the fact that from October 31st through January 4th, I have my favorite meal. So there's a lot of time I got to get rid of a lot more of them calories I've been packing up through the winter from my winter coat. But for the most part, I don't have New Year's resolutions. I'm Catholic, so we have Lent every year. That's usually about the time that I'll make something. I usually do two things. One, and I've said this on a show before. One, I give up cussing. And that's extremely hard to do.
Is that right? I did not know.
It is extremely hard to do. I don't know if it works as well, being the fact that I turn new names into cuss words, which works out perfect for me, but it feels good. But I tell you what, that one day I can start cussing again and get it all out. And I'm like, man, that felt good. So, but, working out, taking care of myself, making sure that, trying to I always joke around with everybody saying I got to get shredded for the summer, but the older I get, the harder it is to shred for the summer. So instead of the old 6-pack, it's more like if I'm lucky, I'm going to get that 2-pack. And this year I'm hitting 50. So, and we're doing a Viking feast at my house. So we're going to go all in. So I got to make sure that, I'm in pretty good shape, or else I'll be that big hefty guy at the end of the table.
Did you say a Viking feast?
Oh yeah, we go all out. My family loves.
I need details. You can't just be throwing out stuff like we know what that is. Like what is that?
Well, we do a lot of themes. You know, we embrace our culture. I'm married to a Mexican, and my brother's married to a Mexican. So, you know, up until they met us, they didn't really celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Now they celebrate Cinco de Mayo. We just yesterday, last night, I didn't watch the Grammys. I was watching Groundhog Day because that's our annual. Hey, let's get together. Let's drink German beers. Let's eat brats, you know, and sauerkraut, and we watch Groundhog. You know, and it's funny because every time I watch, it's like deja vu all over again. But that being said, we do that. St. Patty's Day is huge for us. You know, we're Irish, Viking, American Indian, and a little bit German, and then you know the Mexican side of the family. You know, so you know, and then we used to do the Viking feast a lot, but you know, with COVID and moving out and everything, we finally decided. I said, hey, this year I want to do it again. My buddy's coming in from Tennessee. You know, he loved it. We all get dressed up, and you know, whether you're in kilts or whatever you can get, everybody comes in to have a flag for their family name. We're gonna put, and it doesn't matter where you're from. We're just gonna make a flag up. And then we decided for they put these long tents that we put in our we use for for rooms. We're gonna make a longhouse this year, you know. So I mean, we're going all out. It's fun. I only get to be 51, so I might as well just make one big party. My sister-in-law is the queen of charcuterie boards. I mean, if you've ever seen them, they are like immaculate. People look at them, take pictures of them, they can't believe it. She's gonna have actual, you know, salted fish out there, all the cheeses you can think of, goat cheeses, fruits, vegetables, meats. We got turkey legs. You know, we go all out. It's a lot of fun, you know. And Rocco's gonna come this year, so he's gonna have to let you guys know. We absolutely love it. It's a blast. You know, it's a lot of fun. It creates memories and it creates big ass hangovers, but it's definitely worth the blast. And you know, like I said, we love themes. We're doing a Super Bowl party this week after we got to come back from Northern California though. You know, it's not as big with the Super Bowl parties, you know, especially since none of my buddy's team's in, but I'm a Packer fan and it's not in. The Bills didn't make it, so my brother's not happy. And, you know, I don't want to see Taylor Swift up there, but after you bring it up, I think he's going to surprise us with her, you know, so. My daughter will like it. She loved Taylor Swift. I was never a Swift.
Oh, that's dope. I love a good charcuterie board. My husband is really good at charcuterie board, so that's awesome. That the first thing I wanted to hear was the food, but then
her charcuterie board's a table.
I'm like, what? Just say that part again.
I said her charcuterie board for this is a table. I'm not kidding. The entire long dining room table is one big charcuterie board. They're even going all out, and they found this big ass chair that they're going to carve up, you know, like, you know, and put at the end. It's amazing. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, she does that. And, you know, I keep telling her, man, she needs to turn that into a business. She can make a hell of a lot of money from it, you know, and everybody that comes and looks at it, they take pictures. I'm not allowed to touch it for the first 2 hours we're there. She's like, keep your hands off of it. Don't touch it. Cause I'm already grabbing everything. I'm like, oh, that's good. Oh, look at that. You know, what's this? And you eat it and then, you know, either you're spitting it out when you find out what it really is, or you're loving it, you know, so it's a lot of fun.
That's crazy. Bettina, what about you? You believe in the whole New Year's resolution deal? Do you do it? Have you found it to be helpful at all?
Well, you know, I have a healing business where I read tarot for people and I do energy healing for people. So like all day long, every day, like I'm talking to people about what their goals are, what their dreams are. I do energy healing to like release those obstacles, and like I do it on myself too to like help move ahead. So that's just something I do all the time. Like, what do I want next? So yeah, I do like to take the opportunity like in January to think of like, well, what do I want? You know, I want more acting work on television, and I have like different like signs around my house to say that. And I think I'm gonna like pick a date, like just write it in my calendar, like I'm working on network television, like write it out, that kind of thing. I'm a little behind with my gym working out. I was working out like 4 times a week last year, but when I got shingles, I stopped. And now that I'm all better from that, I haven't like gotten back to the gym, but that's been on my mind. But I'm February 28th, I'll be in Florida, so I can't like restart something.
There you go.
I'll be back
in the sun, honey.
Yeah, I want to get some warmth. We'll be there for a week, but then I think when I come back soon after that, I think I will join the gym. But yeah, I am very into the New Year's resolutions, but I'm into that like doing that every day, every week, like scripting your day, scripting your life, like how do you want it to be, planning out those intentions and healing whatever blocks are in your way on a regular basis so you don't get stuck for years on end,
No, that's a really good
Yeah.
practice, important practice to just be continually reviewing, I think. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, you got to keep that up. Always some issues going to pop up, so you want to like clear that so you can get to your next thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm
Power of
glad
the
you
mind's
bouncing
important.
back from shingles, because that can be, I've heard shingles are
Oh, that
so
was the worst thing. That was the worst pain I ever felt. I mean,
Shingles suck.
oh my God. I thought I was going to die, but I had it like 10 days. I went right to the doctor. They gave me the medication, and I also did like nonstop healing on myself and had other healers, like, energy healing stuff work on me. So 10 days it was gone. Thank God.
Well, that's
That
good.
was the worst. That was the worst. That was like an unexpected, like, what the hell is this? Just like screaming in pain. I wish that on no one.
Yeah.
So
Shingles is no fun.
Yeah.
My brother had it once. We call it kundis, but I think we got that from friends. We didn't know what it was at the time.
It's terrible. I hope that he got rid of it and he doesn't have it. Didn't have it long.
He did. I mean, shingles actually comes from if you've had chickenpox before, it's
Yeah,
the virus
sure.
lives in you, and it comes out of nowhere. It's no fun.
Yeah, you don't expect it. I mean, I know people who've had it for years and people who've had like, starts eating into your bone. Like it can be really bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it can
no
be
fun.
horrible. I got lucky, so I don't have it anymore. That was like a long time ago, like a year ago, last April.
I'm glad it's better.
Yeah, everything's
Marianne, what
better now.
about you and New Year's resolutions?
I am not really a New Year's resolution type person. For me personally, I don't know. It never appealed to me. I think for me as a kid, I remember my dad saying, I'm going to start going to the gym, or I'm going to go on his big thing was a diet. He was always going to go on a diet, and he never stuck to it. So, for me, I was like, well, it didn't work for him, but I try to keep my habits pretty consistent throughout the year. I do work out at least 3 times a week. I try to stay active, full-time job, but we have a farm. So I have no choice but to have a routine. So I'll work a normal job, then I'll come home, then I have all these animals to feed, then I have supper to cook. My husband and me, we have to eat. I like to exercise to try and stay fit, and it's a lot. And I get very tired sometimes, but I tend to thrive on a routine. And I also do better going to bed early and getting up early. So for me, I just try to keep my habits pretty consistent throughout the year. And as far as like the eating, I have to eat right most of the time. I mean, I do splurge, like I said, big bowl of chocolate, big bowl of popcorn, I'm right there. But overall, I try to eat well most of the time, because if I don't, I will not have the energy to do all that stuff that I have to do. I'm always moving, always doing something. But I enjoy it. I love my life. I love what I do during the day. I love the animals. Because my farm animals are pets. So I love spending time with them and taking care of them. And I do rescue. I do animal rescue too. So I enjoy that routine. I thrive on a routine. So I really don't feel the need for a resolution. If I want to better myself, I just try to do it when it comes to mind.
I feel like for myself, I was thinking about resolutions, and I was listening to this podcast where this guy was talking about a research study where they gave people a set of Legos, a Lego block, and they had this, just like a simple structure already built on it. And they told the people, make some alteration to it so that it's even, because it was like uneven. And the way to make it even was just to remove 2 Lego blocks, and they gave them like 10 additional blocks. And so most people, instead of removing the 2 blocks, would build up the whole other side and use all the 10 blocks to add to. And they were just saying like it's a very American ideology to add more. When you are told to improve something or fix something, you add to it instead of, it was much, much simpler just to take 2 blocks out. And so I think about that all the time when I think about making a new goal or making a resolution. Like, instead of adding things, like, what things can I take away? Like, what can I shave out? What can I remove, to make my life simpler? What can I get rid of? So I'm very much that kind of person. I'm a person that loves to, like, purge. I love to throw things away. I love to streamline things. I love things to be minimalist, so that idea really stuck with me. And so I try and I do New Year's resolutions, but I also just try and, like, get rid of stuff. Like, okay, what am I doing that is not serving me that I can cut out? What can I take off my plate? I love saying no to things. Like, I relish somebody being like, hey,
that's good.
Do you want to go? Nope. Can you join this panel? Nope. Can you do this school thing with the kid? No, I'm not going to be able to do the school thing with the kids, like, so I think it's really important to just have, like, a mission focus, because I only can do so many things, so I really try and focus and do that. To the beginning of the year, I had, like, a little thing up where I have all the little sticky notes of all the things I want to work on, and I have it up so I can look at it. I had one last year, and I realized, I need to do one for the new year. And I took down my old one, and I was like, oh, hey, I actually did a bunch of this stuff. But I think that's because it's up and I get to see it every day. If I don't see something, then for me, it's out of sight, out of mind. So being able to look at it every day is really helpful for me to be like, oh, yeah, that's right. I did say I was going to do that thing. I need to work on that certain thing. Yeah. But as an aside, I just wanted to say my pick for Usher would be Kiki, who he did the Boyfriend song with earlier this year. Late last year. I don't know if you guys know, she went to an Usher concert, and Kiki is like a singer and actress. She went to an Usher concert, and then her boyfriend put her on blast and was like, why are you wearing that outfit at the Usher concert and dancing with Usher? You're a mom, you have kids. She has
I think I remember that.
And so he said, you're a mom. I can't believe you're wearing this dress that she had on that he felt was risque. This is her boyfriend posting on Twitter, like, for the world to see. And so like a month or two after that, he made a video and a song with her called I Heard Your Boyfriend's Looking for Me. And so it's hilarious. The video is so funny. Because he really says, like, the words are, I heard your boyfriend is looking for me. That's cool. That's cool. Well, he should know I'm pretty easy to find. Look for me whenever he sees you. I go wherever you go. Because I'm inside her mind. I don't have to be everywhere I'm inside her mind. So in the video, like, that's the play in the video, is like, it's Usher, but is it really Usher? Like, where is he? And so it's just so funny in reference to that whole situation. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I would love for him to bring her out. I would love to see them perform that song, because that would just be too funny. Yeah, I'm sure that relationship is over for her, because that was a lot of drama. But it was entertaining for a lot of us who were watching on Twitter. So anyway, when we talk about New Year's, we think about fresh starts. And I'm wondering for you guys, do you give people fresh starts? Like, do you believe in second chances for people? This is romantic partners. This is friendships. This is in general. And then how do you decide if a person gets a second chance with you? Bettina.
It really depends on the situation. I have had instances where, like, a friend did something that hurt me very much, or betrayed me or something, and then years later I was able to kind of get past it and be friends again. But I've also had instances where I was just like, no, that's over. Like, I had an ex-boyfriend who went to jail, so I was like, I think we're done.
The judge broke us up.
This is like ages ago. I went to visit him a couple of times, and I'm like, no. I mean, he went to jail for armed robbery. I mean, it's really horrible. I was a kid. I was so young. So, there are certain instances. I mean, that's an extreme example where it's like, it just doesn't work anymore. Like, if your vibration shifts and your energy shifts, and it just doesn't make sense for you to be friendly with that person anymore, like, why? I mean, you can forgive them. I've certainly like forgiven many people who have hurt me, but that doesn't necessarily mean I want to hang out with them anymore. And certain people, certain people like I would if it worked out, but certain people was like, no, because their personality or something doesn't match my vibration anymore. It doesn't make sense, you know?
No, I think that's
Yeah.
that's an excellent point. I think it's important to know, like, just sometimes you outgrow all kinds of situations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the
And what
few
I
times where I've like gone back and tried to recreate, like there were times in my youth where I was just like, oh, it's been a year or two or three or whatever. Let me go back and check this out. And that almost backfired. So from a handful of situations where it didn't work out after trying a second chance, I more try not to go backwards.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
that's an interesting perspective because my best friend is not like that at all. He's very much like, if you're his friend once, if you were ever his friend, you are going to be his friend for the rest of your life. Like there's no like cutting off. There's no, we want different things now. Our vibration should, like, no, like he's going to be your friend forever. And I mean, that's great and loyal, but like you were saying, like you shift over time. Energies change and things change and situations change. So I'm always interested other people's take on that.
Yeah,
What
if
do you
you're
think about
interested
that,
in
David?
different things or just have so completely different view of life, it's like, it just doesn't make sense to hang out. It's just not fun or comfortable anymore.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think about it, David?
Oh, shoot. I'm the poster boy for second chances, man. I mean, I've messed up so many damn times in my life and have been able to grow from it and be a better person. I tell people all the time, I have no regrets, none whatsoever. Everything I've ever done, I'd do it again just because I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have the people in my family that I have today. I wouldn't have the experiences that I had today. That being said, I mean, yeah, I mean, heck, I messed up in high school, got my girlfriend pregnant at 15. And, from right then and there, nobody, who's going to give me a second chance on that one, that kind of screwed up my opportunity for playing sports, in football. And, and then I got a second chance for that in the military. I mean, I've always felt that second chances are important. Being a coach myself, one of the things that I found a long time ago that really works out is you can't, I mean, I'm probably the most forgiving person anybody knows. Like my sister said, I don't think I've ever met a stranger. Your friend KK, the loyalty, I'm the same way. Now, do I trust that person? No. I mean, there's a certain amount of trust you can and can't have. But second chance, I think everybody deserves a second chance. The most important reason is because the first time we mess up, I can't say the old quote if it's not how hard you fall, it's how quick you bounce back up. And I can't say, well, I'm like that, but I'm not going to let anybody else make that mistake around me. I've always been that person that if hey, we're jumping out the airplane. Oh yeah, I jump and go, oh crap, I think I needed a parachute. If I live through it and I hit the ground, I'm gonna go right back up there. Now I know where a parachute. I'm not saying it, to that extreme, but for the most part, second chances are important, and in sports it's important because I've had kids that have messed up. I have some very, very fine rules that are, you're done for the entire year. I don't like thieves. I cannot stand thieves.
Yeah.
To me, that taking something from somebody, even if it's just a little object or a pen, to me that's, you're taking something that was, even if it was monetary value, that was just, you took from them. And so I can't stand thieves. So I tell everybody, if you steal from this team, or if you steal, you're out for the year indefinitely. You can come back, but I'm watching you, and the reason I say that is because I've had players that have messed up, and the media, the admin, parents, people around want me to crucify this kid. And at the end of the day, I'm like, what do you want me to do? Kick him out on the streets, have him go out there and, pan for the rest of his life? No, I give him the opportunity. I deal with it within, give him the tools, teach him, because that's my job is as a human and as a person who's failed miserably himself, and I say all the time, fail, but if you're going to fail, fail often, but fail forward. And a lot of people don't understand that concept. And I've had these kids that have messed up. I mean, you hear the story and you're like, oh, wow, that's crazy. But they went on to have a family, have a business, learn
Mhm.
from their lessons, do really, really good. And I could look back and say, yeah, he could have been living on the streets if I would have given him that opportunity. Because sometimes we don't realize how much of an impact we have on other people around us, whether we like them or not. And so I believe everybody should get second chances, but you got to protect yourself. I gave my ex-wife too many chances, and I lived to pay the price for that one for a long time, and but that being, you still got to be able to do what you got to do. And at the end of the day, I think it's important. People gave me second chances. Plus, one of these days, I'm gonna have to, I can't judge people because I'm gonna be judged. And I hope to God I can look at them and say, well, I forgave everybody. Can you forgive me? So that's the way I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. No, that's interesting working with kids, especially if you're in a space where you have to be responsible for them and you have to set rules for them because you can't have them just doing whatever, right?
Oh
And then
yeah.
you are dealing with the repercussions of them breaking those rules and making bad choices. That can just be really painful to have to witness, you know what I mean? Because everybody has their own agency and they
Well, it
have
takes
to
a
make
hit
those
on
choices.
your reputation too, as as a teacher, a coach, whatever you're actor, whatever you're doing. It takes people are going to look at you and say, "Well, yeah, he can go there, but he lets him get away with everything." It's like, no, you don't. So it's a very fine line, and you got to really watch how you do it. But it comes down to educating yourself, educating the people around you. And I feel my job is to teach people in any way, shape, or form and learn at the same time. I mean, I could go on and heck, I learned from kids. I'm learning math from kids nowadays, and it's weird because I'm like, man, I don't know how the hell you got to that. It's 4 plus 4. I don't know how I got it, but I got it, it's like, you're always learning from people and you learn from your own mistakes. You learn, and I think people really do. I mean, what is a mistake? It's a failure. And what they say, Edison didn't invent the light bulb right away. I think the reporter had asked him once, what's it feel like failing 10,000 times? He goes, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I just found 10,000 ways of not making a light bulb. So it's the positive outlook that you have in it, and you got to be
Yeah.
positive. And if you're not positive about
Mhm.
everything, you're not going to make it. And for the most part, now if somebody came into my house and like murdered my family, there's a difference. Now I got to deal with me and my God and my forgiveness level. And that's very, very hard to forgive people. I think most people, I know my oldest daughter cannot stand. It's hard for her to forgive. I'll hate you, but if I walk away and come back 5 minutes later, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm good. And it doesn't help me out. It does not help me out. We have an old saying that, Irish never go to bed mad. Fight it out, get it over with, because the last thing I want to do is get up tomorrow morning and fight about this again. So I get away from a problem. I'm happy. I'm in a good mood. And, so I like to finish it, and, let live, it is what it is.
Hey, what about you, Marianne? What do you say?
Well, I will say this. So David was talking about, you know, God expects us to forgive. And I feel that way. My faith is important to me. And this is also coming from someone who was raised going to church as a Christian, then became a borderline atheist because of some very bad, mean things that were done to me. And then turned right back around and renewed my faith. So for me, I do think forgiveness is necessary in my life. I want to do what God has done for me because I've messed up. I've done things that I'm not proud of, you know, a lot, a lot of things, especially when I was younger. And when you're in your 30s, close to 40, you look back and it's like, I learned so much from that stuff. I learned so much from those mistakes. But at the same time, there was a lot of bitterness for me because of the things that were done to me. I have been treated horribly by people that were blood related to me. And do I forgive them? Absolutely. But do I want them in my life anymore? No. And that's where I think boundaries come in. Even Jesus had boundaries. That's the truth. I think it's okay to be angry if somebody hurts you. I think we need to process that anger, but then we can still forgive them, but also say, I forgive you. I'm not holding this against you anymore, but you're not welcome in my life. because you showed me patterns, repeated patterns that do not serve the life I'm trying to live. And so that's the difference for me is I want to be forgiving. I believe God has forgiven me for the many bad things I've done in my past. Everyone's done bad things. And usually, do I give second chances? Most of the time, I do. There are certain instances at this point when I will not. And because I used to be the world's biggest doormat, and I think people counted on that, Marianne. They said, well, I can just treat her any way that I want to. She'll let me come right back. And for a long time, that was me. And that is not me anymore. And that has not been me for probably close to 7 years. And I just do not have room for the people that are going to drag me backwards. You want people that are going to boost you, encourage you, help you be successful. I heard from, I don't know where this statistic came from, but you are like the 5 people you spend the most time with is who influences you the most. You're the most like that, those 5 people. I want to be around people that are going to lift me up. So there's a difference in having my inner circle and then people that I might know or consider a friend. And then there's the people way out here that I have forgiven. I don't hold it against them. I don't hate them, but they're also not coming into my life because I've determined that it's not healthy. So I think there's different levels of people in your life and different levels of how close you get to somebody. I think forgiveness is necessary, yes, but boundaries are an absolute must.
No, I think that's very well put. Yeah, boundaries are so important. Like I feel like integral to me also in my religious practice is forgiveness as well. But I think that, like you said, I don't open myself up to more harm. Right? It's one thing to,
and that's wise.
Right. It's one thing to forgive, but like you said, be a doormat is no. It's one thing to be, humble. Humiliation is another thing, right? So like I feel like there's always kind of a fine line, and boundaries is where that fine line is. You gotta create those and make those for people. But yeah, I agree with you, and I think that it's sad that you were like the people that have hurt you the most have been related to you by blood, because I think those are the people that can hurt you the most. You know what I mean? Like that
they are
but you know what? 2 different people do the same thing, but when it's from family, sometimes it hits even deeper. You know what I mean? It feels even worse when it's from family.
Oh, it did. That's what drove me almost to suicide. That's what made me almost pretty much an atheist for quite a while. But at the same time, those people were so hurtful to me, but they didn't break me. And I am who I am because of who they were not. And because they walked out of my life, I am who I am. And I renewed my faith, and I thank them for that. I don't need them anymore. And I'm grateful.
That's powerful too, that you can see looking back, that they helped to create who you are, and that you were able to, grow from it. Turn tragedy into triumph.
Yeah.
Would say.
Amen.
Yeah. So finally, I want to talk to you guys about a kind of a heavy subject, but I mean, a lot of talk has been just kind of going around because we have a upcoming election here in America. There are a lot of elections. This is a big election year all over the world, actually. But a huge upcoming presidential election, as we all know. And I feel like we hear more and more about divisions in our country. Even earlier this week, a common friend that we have sent out a clip of this movie I had never even heard of, but it has like Nick Offerman in it. It has like big actors in it. It's called Civil War, and it blew my mind because it was like California and Texas are teaming up to fight against the rest of all the other states in the nation in like this huge civil war battle with Nick Offerman as the president. I was like, what is this trailer for this movie? And it has big time actors in it, so it's just not like a crazy all to the side movie. So I'm like, okay, I might have to go see that. But the movie the name of the movie is Civil War. And I think that it's really indicative of a greater kind of anxiety that we have in our country right now about just the divisions that we have going on. So I'm wondering what you guys think about the divisions. Do you feel hopeful for our nation? Are you cynical? I'm just interested in taking the temperature of the panel and seeing what you guys' take on the divisions are. Let's go to Marianne. What do you think, Marianne?
I want to be hopeful, Kay. I really want to be hopeful. I want to be, but am I? Not really. It just seems like there's so much hatred, there's so much cruelty, there's so much division and arguments. And me, I try not to, I'd like push one side or another. I just wish that people could love each other and get along. That's what I want. World peace, United States peace, peace everywhere. That's what I wish for. Is it going to happen? Probably not, but that's what I want. But I'm cautiously optimistic, maybe. I want to be hopeful. I think everybody wants to be hopeful.
Yeah, I definitely want to be hopeful. I agree with you on that. Can we just get pieces of peace? Can we get pockets of peace in certain places at certain times? Maybe.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Who, me?
Oh, Bettina. Sorry, Bettina.
You gotta. Yeah, I mean, it's so sad what's going on with division everywhere, and I think it's a shame that they have a movie like this out there because, like, why propagate that division some more? Why not put out something where it shows the states getting along, that something happens that forces people to connect with each other and show love for each other. It's very sad. I mean, I do believe that if we all individually felt love for our fellow humans unconditionally, that would start a movement to bring peace to the world. And that's really the most you can do anyway, just to work on yourselves to feel, I mean, for self-love, for love to whoever you run into during the day, like to just put that out there as much as you can, because that's where it all starts and ends, really. And that can go out into the world, that can create a big wave of love and peace everywhere. It's just a shame about what's going on now, but I do believe if everyone kind of put their mind and hearts to it, it can shift. And perhaps there should be a movie that shows us how to do that. That would be much better than to continually put out stuff where there's like more fighting and more division.
That movie exists, Bettina. It's called
I know, but I'm just saying it's sad that it's out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why do something to make it worse or to keep people in that mindset? Like, why aren't we putting out movies that show like United States, like, or
Yeah.
getting over their issues and finally accepting each other as we are and working together for a common good. I mean, it might take like something like an alien race coming down and making that happen, but I'll take it if that's what it takes.
Well, I mean, maybe there is some great resolve in the movie. I mean, it hasn't come out yet. I'm interested to see. Maybe it does have a greater message. So, like, maybe
like that's the point of it. Yeah. Oh, that'd be nice.
Maybe it has a great resolve, but
an alien race.
When you talk about a movie that already has that built in, I'm just going to keep talking about Origin because it's such a great movie, but it does a really great job of doing that, of showing everybody's humanity and really highlighting that and just kind of showing us how we can bridge the divide. There's a great scene in it where a lady is, her basement has flooded in her mom's house and her mom passed away. So she's there like trying to repair it. And this guy comes in and you can kind of tell the vibe is that she's a black woman and he's a white guy. The vibe is that he does not like black people. But she just ends up talking to him and asking him, about his parents. And she says, my mom passed away and she was a really important person to me. And is your mom still alive? And he starts to talk to her and tell her, no, my mom passed away too. And they kind of bond over that. And you can just see him just kind of shift and change. And they start talking about their dads, and he's like, nah, I hate my dad. My dad is the worst. He's still alive. He's 76. I'll be happy. He was like, she was like, I'm sure it's great to have him still around, though. I wish my dad was still around. And he was like, no, I'll be happy when he dies. So it was kind of, in the movie, everybody kind of laughed, like, what? But she kind of cracked him open a little bit, because after, they just got to talking about families. Even if you love your family, hate your family, everybody can talk about their family. Everybody has some passionate views about their family, and just getting him to open up and talk about his family, and for her to share her experiences with her family, it just completely changed his approach to her. And the rest of their interaction was very different after that. And it was just so interesting to see, just exposing your humanity to someone and then accepting their humanity to you. It was just like, it was a really like beautiful moment. And the film has a lot to say about different things, but that's just one part that I was just like, oh yeah, that kind of highlights what you were talking about, Bettina. Instead of reflecting back to us maybe things that we see all the time and things that are very negative that we already know, kind of like, let's think of some solutions. Not that everything has to be Pollyanna-ish, right? Because it's not. But sometimes it's encouraging to see solutions instead of always seeing the problem highlighted.
Yeah.
David, what about you?
I think that, we all know history repeats itself, and those that don't learn from our history are going to end up repeating it forever. And the biggest problem that we have is people don't learn about the history. The funny thing is even if you go back to right after the Revolutionary War in America, we're always taught that, after the Revolutionary War, everything started working, the Constitution was working, the country was great, then great story. The reality was, it wasn't even 3 years into it, and already the people started fighting and getting upset with the Federalists, and they were fighting the elites, and it was almost another battle. I mean, people were dying. They were going to war against former soldiers that fought each other and now fighting like in a civil war in a sense. When it comes down to it, I think the extreme sides for all parties, is what scares people. And every generation that comes along always thinks that, we're the first people ever to go through this. This is crazy. Even the apostles thought that Jesus was going to die in their lifetime. They just couldn't fathom it not happening. So everybody thinks that, this is the end of the world. It's the end of times. If aliens come, speaking of aliens, I just read something today that the government had said something to the effect that if we do have government or aliens that land, we're actually going to surrender to them and hope that they don't hurt us, because they were saying, we're just thinking if they have the intelligence to come here to come after us, they're probably intelligent enough to wipe us clean. So we better just surrender right away. And I'm like, what? I didn't see that in Independence Day. We need a movie like Independence Day that comes out where all of us, regardless, what race we're from, what country we're from, we all look at each other and say, hell yeah, kick some ass, and
Will Smith is not going to stand by. He wouldn't even let Chris Rock talk about his wife at the Oscars.
Right.
So
right. I agree. So, we're divisive. I saw that Civil War come out too, and I was thinking, I already knew right off the bat this is really going to be interesting, but at the same time, it's weird because who in their right mind thinks Texas and California are going to join together and fight the government? So I was talking to Rocco the other day. I'm like, I don't understand I just want to see what they're coming up with, but the reality is they're putting fear in us by putting these kind of movies out there. It's fear. The first thing we all think is we all joke around, we all talk, man, I don't know what's going down there on the borders, man. Are we going to civil war? Is this a civil war? The news talks about it. The people around us talk about it. It's just like, where are we at? And then all of a sudden a movie comes out and we're like, whoa, this seems like it's in our backyard. This is what's going on. I believe that there are entities out there that are pushing this agenda out there so that we, the people, will fall in line. Without getting too far in conspiracy theories and going crazy with that, I believe that's what's happening. And again, like we talked about last week, I think we're we have to make intelligent decisions on our own. We got to look at this side and go, wow, this is pretty ridiculous. At the end of the day, I don't understand. And I watch these things in movies and I read books. I do not understand how anybody in their right mind can treat a human being the way history has treated people, from, the Jews and the way they were treated.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book right now on how these regular civilians were put into a police force for the Nazis, and they went around killing the Jews. And it was like to a point where they were lining up and getting tired because it was just too much work, and I'm thinking to myself, how could even if I hated somebody, I don't think I couldn't do that to animals. How do you do that to animals? How do people do it? How do they treat the slaves like that? How do they treat,
This is why you must
crazy
watch Orange and David, because you have to understand the pillars of the caste system. All of that is just the caste system. And you do there are different pillars of that caste system. You don't let people intermarry. You don't, you assign traits to a group of people that dehumanizes them. There are systematic ways that people do that. It's not just you wake up and you hate people, right? Like, it's a caste oriented mindset, and there are pillars involved, and it's a whole, situation. But like, here's the thing: we cannot not understand it, right? The great philosopher Terence said, "I am human, so I cannot not believe what is human." Right? So it's nothing human is alien to me. Is the thought, right? So like, it seems crazy, but we must understand it. It's the only way we can fight it, right? We cannot not understand it, because how else can we fight against it?
True. I mean, it is, and I question that all the time. I understand fear comes into play. I understand people do things. I've had this argument with my brother years ago I've been in situations where people go to extremes, where people are freaking out. The question is, and you can go back to 9/11, people jumping out of the buildings, people can sit there and tell us all right now, I would never do that. I would try to write it down. How do you know? People do extreme things in the face of danger and fear and pain. There comes a point where, I snapped my shin in half in 8th grade, and that peroneal nerve did not tear. It did not get numb. I mean, if somebody had a weapon and then I could have offed myself, I would have been perfectly happy at that particular moment, just to get rid of that pain. It was not subsiding. I didn't care. And so people, when they're scared, do crazy things, and they do things that they're not thinking rationally. And, the rationality behind it, we can all sit back in hindsight and say, you're an idiot. Who would do that? Why would you ever give up? But what if you couldn't breathe? What if they're panicking? What if they just wanted that last gulp of air before they hit? Maybe they thought, if it was me, and I say this all the time, I would be that guy flapping my arms, hoping that that's going to work because that helps in my dreams. I never know. But to be stuck in that situation. And anyway, if I was put in a position, and I've asked myself this before in the military, if I was put in a position where I was told to do something that's completely against anything I've ever done, I got to stand up and say, well, I guess this is where I get killed too. This is where I'm put to death. And, it all comes down to who you are and how you handle things. And I think a lot of people are afraid to make those choices. Therefore, they'll follow the crowd. They'll follow the crowd. We walked into Home Depot 2 days ago. I'm walking in, I was talking to my wife, we're joking around and trying to look for someone, say, hey, where's aisle 1? We get in there, and this guy and his kids and his wife they're running out. And he goes, I wouldn't go in there right now. And I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, there's a guy with a machete hitting people. And I turned to my wife, gave her the cart, and I was like, here, hold this, stay here, I'll be back. And I go, you said a machete? He goes, no, a stick. So I slowed down then. I'm like, oh, stick. Okay, I walked over to see what's going on.
Those are very different things, sir.
Yeah. But either way, I heard screaming. The guy was on the ground. He got beat by this guy. And the other guy was like, you stole my bike and a motorcycle or something. And the guy on the ground's like, what are you talking about? I just paid for that like yesterday. And I just kind of sat back and said, okay, there's a bunch of big guys around. And, I looked back to see where my wife was, and her dumb butt was right up next to me. I'm like, what are you doing? I told you to go. She goes, you really think I'm going to let you run into hell and I'm not coming with you? And I was like, oh, I appreciate it, babe, but it gives me a good feeling knowing that if the zombies or apocalypse is here, that you're in it safe and I can go out there and fight, not watching your butt every time. And she goes, well, too bad. I don't want you going out there alone. So I'm one of those people. My brothers are the same way. Some people like that. They'll jump in without regards to what's going to happen to them. And I think with our country right now and the way it is and how divided it is, I think there are going to be a lot of people that are going to keep us in the straight and narrow and say, hey, no, we could still do this. I wish everybody get along. I agree with you guys. I just don't understand how we can do it when we have people on both sides that are just pounding us and pounding us and pounding us with nothing but hatred. But it's happened every 30 years since I can remember. When I was being born around Vietnam, it was like hell. Before that, 30 years before that was World War II. That was hell. Before that was World War I. It just keeps, it flows and it flows and it flows. And we are in a different world, different times, but it's still a scary situation, and if aliens come down, I hope to God we don't give up right away, because I might be the one idiot getting out there getting laser zapped right off the bat because I'm like, no, hell no, running out there with a machete trying to fight him.
I was gonna say we need to find that guy with the stick. Apparently,
right?
The guy with the stick is ready for the smoke. He's ready for the action.
I thought it was interesting. By the time we got there, we're like, oh, he stole his bike. Oh, I guess he deserved it. Okay, nobody's beating anybody now. Let's just wait and see what happens. But there's enough big guys around. I was like, all right, I got to go find my, what I came here to get anyway. So it's just the world we live in right now.
Okay. Well, wow. That's a wild situation going down at the Home Depot machete.
Always got to make sure you stretch when you get out of your vehicle. You never know what's going to happen, right?
Oh, I'm stretching to run, honey. I'm not about to go into no Home Depot and see about nobody and no machete. I'm going to a dust cloud behind you, bro.
Bye.
Well, I did ask. You said machete. My eyes were looking around for something I can use as a weapon right off the bat, and I'm thinking, man, I'm in the garden section. There's no hose here. I'm like, and he goes, a stick. And I go, oh, okay, good. I don't have to throw a cactus at him or something. Maybe that'll help,
That is wild. Oh my gosh. Never a dull moment. Well, you guys heard it here first. You got to stretch before you go to the Home Depot. Have your keys in your hand. You got to know if you're going back to your car or if you're trying to get the action. Whatever. We just want you to be prepared. Thanks for joining us today at the FNL Network Talk Show. Thank you, Bettina. Thank you, David. Thank you, Marianne. We had a great time today. Come and join us next time, and hopefully we'll have some more tips on how to avoid or get all the smoke we want.
Take care, guys.
Bye.